Stop using aiming systems. Seriously, I'm not joking. They are the reason you keep missing shots you know you should make. And in the next few minutes, I'm gonna completely change the way you think about aiming in pool, because right now, you are doing it wrong and you don't even know it. Look at this, straight in shot. Easy, right? Center of the cue ball to the center of the object ball, and boom! Full contact. That works. But now, watch this. I moved the cue ball just a little bit to the side, same shot, just a slight angle. Most players walk behind the object ball, pick a contact point with the cue, then come back behind the cue ball and aim at the same exact point. Sounds familiar, right? And here is the crazy part. The real problem is what you think you are aiming at, and I will show you the exact fix in a second. But now, you need to understand what is actually happening. You think you are aiming at a point on the object ball, but you are not. When the angle increases and we aim for the same point on the object ball as in a straight-in shot, the cue ball simply contacts the object ball too early and causes us to hit way too fake. And this is the exact moment where aiming systems come in. Let's start with the most famous one, ghost ball method. You imagine a second cue ball perfectly touching the object ball on the line to the pocket. That's your target. And actually, it works great, especially on small angles, because your brain can estimate that position more easily. But here is the truth, nobody tells you. You are guessing. You are estimating a 3D position in space with two eyes from one angle. So let me ask you, can you hit the cue ball perfectly towards this point? I will explain this a bit later, but now bigger angle. Ghost ball becomes harder to see, so players switch to fractional aiming. Quarter ball hit, half ball hit, 3/4 ball hit. You are basically deciding how much of the object ball you want to overlap. It is very useful, but again, it is still guessing. There is no exact measurement, no exact reference. So why do some players make everything and others miss constantly? For now, you need to know quite an interesting method of learning how much we need to cut the ball, which I use during my training sessions. In the first one, the cue ball is on the head spot and the 9 ball is on the foot spot. In the second case, the cue ball is in the center of the table and the 9 ball is on the third diamond near the side rail. We try to pot the 9 ball and after each pot, we move the cue ball half a diamond sideways or one diamond up, depending on the shot. But here is the most important thing. If you make a mistake, you go back one position. Your goal is to pocket the 9 ball from 4 different angles in a row, using center ball hit. This is just my personal preference, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Before we go deeper, I'm going to give you something you can use right now on previous shots, and this alone will improve your aiming instantly. I'm pretty sure that during your pre-shot routine, you stand behind the cue ball, then behind the object ball, and come back again behind the cue ball. But have you ever paid attention to how you check your point of contact on the object ball? Many players do this very quickly and carelessly, which causes their head to be slightly angled to one side. Your goal is to be perfectly square to the ball. Not slightly turned. Simply square. Because if you stand like most players slightly angled, your perception changes and suddenly left cuts feel different than right cuts, That's your body messing with your vision. Fix this and your accuracy jumps immediately. So let me ask you, do you feel more comfortable cutting balls to one side than the other? Exactly, this is probably why. Alright, but now let's break the illusion. Even if you aim perfectly, the balls don't behave perfectly because of throw. Executing all kinds of cut shots, we face one important phenomenon called cut-induced throw, which means that the cue ball always pushes the object ball to the outside. This effect is most visible when we experience thinner cuts and we try to roll the ball with center ball. So even if you aimed correctly, the ball goes somewhere else. Sounds weird, right? Very often this requires a slight adjustment in aiming or increasing the amount of speed, which significantly reduces the throw, so object ball is able to follow its natural path. But now let's say we add side spin, which also changes how the balls interact. When we use side spin during contact with the object ball, the cue ball pushes it slightly to one side. This means that when we use right spin, the cue ball pushes the object ball slightly to the left, and when we use left spin, it pushes it slightly to the right. So now, your perfect aim is actually not perfect anymore. By using side spin, we also experience something called spin transfer. This means that when the cue ball makes a contact with object ball, it transfers a bit of spin that is opposite to one it currently has. When we hit with right spin, the object ball receives a bit of left rotation, and when we hit with left spin, the object ball receives some right rotation. If you are using side spin, you also face deflection, which means that the cue ball deviates off its original line. This effect highly depends on the tip offset, shot speed, and the quality of the equipment, but the most important factor is speed, because the harder we hit the cue ball, the more deflection we create. And this brings us to the last important term, called swerve. When we hit the cue ball with side spin, at first it deflects off its natural line, and after some time it curves back towards that line. A huge influence on how strongly this happens comes from the tip offset, the shot speed, and the elevation of the cue. So now, you are not even hitting where your cue is pointing. Welcome to real pool. And this is exactly why aiming systems alone will never be enough. This is a situation where advanced players live, because they don't aim using systems. They adjust based on spin, speed, table conditions and experience, and this is called automatic aiming. You see the shot, and your brain calculates everything instantly. There is only one way to master this: practice different shots, different angle, different distance, different spin and speed. You need to feel how the cue ball behaves. That's how your brain builds automatic aiming. However, there is a very simple way of practicing that will give you the answers to all your questions. Cue ball in the middle of the table, 9 ball on the foot spot, and A ball right here, close to side rail. First of all, try to hit with a little low right, so that you transfer the cue ball to the right side of the table using 1 or 2 rails. Secondly, try hitting with a bit of top left to land in a similar area, but this time using 3 rails. As you probably noticed, These were shots where I used less speed, but when we move the 9 ball close to the top rail and a ball on the second diamond, we can test slightly more powerful shots. First of all, we try to draw the cue ball back using 2 rails, and in the second shot, we go 4 rails around the table. Of course, it is worth practicing these shots on both sides of the table again, because if you master them, I'm sure you will understand what can you expect from your equipment, which will significantly affect your knowledge on how you should aim very quickly. Aiming systems are not useless, but they are not precise. They help you find the line, but the final decision, that comes from your experience. So stop obsessing over the perfect contact point and start learning what the ball really does. However, if you want to stop wasting time and start improving your game, you must check out Pool Billiards CO. This is the best billiard platform where you will find structured drills, advanced editor, and using link from video description, you can get 20% of premium membership and full access to website. If you enjoyed this video, leave a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and see you in the next one. Take care!